Rebellion Reborn. I, of course, am Lilith, and joining me, as always, is...
It's old man Ricky. Hello.
So, yeah, we're back from our little Christmas break, and it's the new year now. We hope that you had a safe and happy holiday season, and it's back to work for us. So, up for discussion today is the book Long Way Home. We also have some tidbits from Ricky's live tweet and some news. So let's just get right into it.
Yeah, why not? So, live tweets. We'll start off with Sunday Bloody Sunday, and the only things of note that I have are: who is sending Taylor the messages from Hero Truther if Micah's captured? I think we've already gone through this, but I just wondered again. Who is this engineer that is in Gateway that Richard and Erica speak of? Is he anyone, like, important, or...?
I just thought it was Hachiro now that I think about it, or something. The real Hachiro.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. That's a good idea. Guys are cleaning out the Deering death room, and they have sheets with blood on it, so I think it's safe to say that Dirty Deering is Dirty Dead Deering, or Dead Dirty Deering. So yeah. Oh well.
How do you feel about that, Ricky? I know you loved Dirty Deering, so...
I don't know. I'm still holding out hope. Like most things in Heroes, I'm sure he'll make a comeback somewhere.
But he's a bad guy, and he's not even Siler level bad guy.
Yeah, I suppose. I was thinking about this, like, it was really weird the way that they kind of hyped him up, like, you know, when Dylan Bruce was doing, like, all the rounds at Comic-Con, he was like, well, I can't tell you his name, I can only tell you this, and nothing really happened, like...
Well, it's because of those non-disclosure agreements. That's all that was. He didn't want to get Haitian or Renee, or Casper. He's like, screw that.
I know, but why even have him there? Like, I don't know. It was just really...
Well, he was from Orphan Black, and we are a sci-fi show, and Orphan Black is a really niche sci-fi show too, so... I
suppose. And then also, I saw a picture in the background, which has a man floating over, like, a molten world. I'll put it in the show notes. So, obviously, I thought that might be, like... one of those new Mendes paintings which was never found or something like that. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool how that's in the background. And, you know, from like the coming up on Heroes Reborn, they had someone floating in the air, which is obviously Luke Collins. But yeah, and that's all I've got. So 11:53 to Odessa. Tommy being brought to Primatech would have been a really good ebook. I think they should have done that instead of some of them. So there's this little bit where Parkman is talking to Farah, and in the background they've got like one of those vents with like the whirling kind of like spinning blades. And if you watch like there's like a Gemini walkthrough where they're talking with the guy, and it just kind of reminded me of that. And I was like, could Sunstone be where all the Heroes Reborn Gemini and Heroes Reborn Enigma are set? It's just a little theory, probably not, but yeah. When Ren's at his computer, two people show up. One is Ninja Nikki and one is Pope_Peter. So I don't know whether that was, intentional. Probably was, but still.
Definitely was. They're like, well, screw you, Milo. We're just gonna shout you out anyway.
And I think the hospital that they are in, not St. Jude's, but the other one that they're in Carbondale, that's called St. Peter's. So yeah, but you never really get that. It's just something that you see from like the tweets of the prop designers and stuff like that. So yeah. Why was the shapeshifter dude worried, like, going into Sunstone Manor? He had, like, Taylor fooled pretty easily, so, anyway.
Well, no, like, they could have had the swab to confirm, because there are shapeshifters in this world now.
Maybe. We are constructs is something Construct Ichiro says to Ren, and obviously he's talking about him and, like, the little soldier kind of ninjas in the background, but I'm still thinking, maybe... just maybe.
Ren's not a real boy either.
No, because he says, I sent him to you. Like, there's only one way. He's got to be, like, a construct. I'm guessing.
I mean, that would be happy. Like, that would be the happy ending for him and Miko. But I want them to be real. I want them to get their Pinocchio ending without the weird trippy eyes.
I don't think Miko and Tommy went back to present day. I think they just teleported to somewhere else in the future. And the person who saved HRG is a future Tommy, a la future hero. I really can't wait for that to happen, if it's going to happen, with the sword on his back and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
With a little ponytail blowing in the wind, little goatee,
little soul patch. What do you think they do as the equivalent for the soul patch now? It wouldn't be a soul patch. It would just probably be
a little baby mustache.
Yeah, like just a really thin one, like Gomez Adams. Like not like the full mustache, just like the little one that they've like sculpted on the like literally on
So
the
he's got
upper
a
lip.
handlebar mustache because future Tommy's a total hipster.
Exactly. Yes. And that's basically all I've got. So the people who joined us in the live tweets were English Idiot 101, Pixie Dust Please, Stephen Xiang 13, Alechna 1, Liz underscore at Heart, Skylar Artist, Heroes Reborn underscore Eck Tompkins 91992, BR Heroes Reborn, Shine Die, Super LM123, Randall underscore John Joe, and Iono Moo 16 underscore. Thank you all for tweeting, retweeting.
Hey, I heard new names.
I know, right?
Welcome aboard.
Yes. Only 3 more episodes, maybe. Who knows? I
Oh, Ricky, you're so optimistic. That's why I love you.
know, right? Well, even if the show does finish, we still got to go through Godsend at least once a month. So, that'll be a 5-minute Primatech Files every month where I'm just
Well,
talking.
plus the hey, get your favorite heroes and other shows. That'll be a
Oh,
wonderful
yeah.
thing
Yeah.
for down the line too. Keep this podcast going
I
into
think
perpetuity.
exactly. So next up, I did our usual question of the week, and of course, being the New Year and Christmas period, it wasn't filled in that much. But I'm still going to go over it. It was, what is your favorite part of the Heroes Reborn multi-platform storytelling and why? And on Facebook, I had webisodes, comics, ebooks, games, and the magazine. The webisodes and comics both got 3 votes, and the ebooks, games, and magazine got 0 votes. So the only bit of feedback we got was from Willow Paulson, who said the webisodes are easy for me to get access to. I don't have a comic book store near me, and I don't want to pay shipping through mail order, and they are well written. So that's true because the webisodes are well written. And on Twitter, I did the exact same question. Coming in last place with 8% of the vote was games. Ebooks and comics came in second and third with 17%, and the webisodes came top with 58%. That was from 12 votes. And the people who gave us any feedback were Nice One Franzi. She said, I love Dark Matters. The vlogging / docu style was really cool. And Macrina Durant said, I love the ebooks. They are so cool, and you find out more stuff about the characters. So yeah,
What about you, Ricky? What's your favorite part?
I really enjoyed the webisodes. The webisodes were, I think, the best bit, but coming in close second, I really liked I kind of liked the comics. So yeah, how about you?
I definitely think the webisodes. I really feel like we should have had some in between this hiatus. It's a shame. Like they almost gave it to us with the Damian Peak thing,
Yeah.
but like they kind of botched that.
And there are like 3 of them, isn't there? There's like one of them is like the actual thing. One of them's like a precursor to it where it's just him talking to his people and using his powers. And the other one's like behind the scenes just for Cadillac, I believe. So yeah.
I want my ARG game, damn
Oh
it.
yeah.
That's what I wanted.
They've got to for the next one. At least one. Just have one. You can start it off like right at the beginning, like when they start production or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, next up we have the magazine, the second issue of the magazine, thanks to Captain North. Thank you very much for sending me that. So I asked him, and he said basically that this is the quote unquote last magazine. They're only doing 2 of them, but there will probably be a third one, which is just a retread of 1 and 2, like combined 1 and 2 with some little bits of new content. So we got that to
Probably like the rap party or something like that.
yeah, probably. And probably talking about the last couple of episodes, I guess. So yes, they had numerous sections. The only ones that I really want to talk about I will talk about. So the first one was Red Carpet Heroes, which is just talk from the red carpet. And it's kind of interesting to hear them talk about some of the stuff. If you've got the magazine, you'll know what I'm talking about because they kind of lead you into telling you what's going to happen. But obviously, we're looking at this in the future. So, they kind of hinted towards stuff. It's like how Masaoka said, he was really deeply ingrained with one of the new characters. It's just not the one that you thought. And everyone was thinking, obviously, it was Miko because, racism. But obviously, we found out.
But no, technically he was really ingrained with Miko because she saved him. So I think that was kind of misleading in and of itself.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I suppose. Next up, we had Godsent, which was talking about the new comics. And the only thing that I gathered from that was, we've obviously had the interview with Nazneen herself, and she's gone through it with us. But her power isn't that of invisibility. It's that to camouflage herself, which, is exactly the same. But,
I'm just like, yeah, Ricky. And it's funny because she's a soldier. And it's just like, asking. Well, obviously, she said it goes through her origin story, so it tells us how she got it. So I wonder if she got it because of the adrenal glands, like in like basic training. She didn't
Mm.
always have these powers, but she knew Angela somehow. She was just like one of those regular operatives or something, maybe. And then she got powers.
I think it's going to be to do with season one of Heroes, and I think it's going to be just after the attacks on of 9/11, which was a big thing. You know, it was a big allegory. The show was
Yes.
so yeah. I think it's going to be kind of the same as that. So she's going to have her powers manifested during that, and then she went all the way to company, etc., and all that kind of stuff. I think that's how it's going to personally happen, but you know, we won't know until March when it's released. Next up,
God, March.
yeah, we've still got two more of these Vengeance comics to go. So yeah, and then it's a 6-issue comic for Godsent. So yeah, next up, there's an interview with Tim Crane, and the only things I really want to bring up is that June 13th apparently took 10 writers 3 months to break because they wanted to make it work. And he also brought up the fact that the Healy is like an allegory to kind of climate change and corporate greed, and how people, you know, in this world use, you know, their own kind of stuff to
Told you
get
her
what they
goddess
want.
was worse than Google.
So yeah. So whereas season one was all about the kind of terrorism and stuff like that of Heroes, this is kind of more about like the kind of natural disasters and people using them to their own end. So yeah. There's an interview with Ryan Guzman, and he talks about heroes are kind of born of tragedy, like Batman and kind of all that stuff. He tells us that Carlos was an engineer in the army, which kind of makes sense looking back on it now.
Yes. So does he mean he has a power or not? Does he have Siler's power?
He said that his character doesn't have any powers, so
It.
but you know that
Except for the ability to fall from like 3 stories.
exactly and survive, and the power of abs. So yeah. There's an interview with Masioka. Nothing really much came from that. There's an interview with Amanda Terry, and she talks about how she worked on Beauty and the Beast, and when she sent her resume to the Heroes Reborn guys, she included a Sunil recommendation.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's
and she talks about how obviously the series is a passage of time, and it's not like a month in between everything. It's like literally in the span of like a week or two. So continuity was a big thing for her. There's an interview with Francesca Eastwood, which really didn't give us much. There is a interview with Henry Zabrowski where he talks about the pilot being shot first and then Dark Matter shot afterwards, while everyone else got a little hiatus.
Did he say that helped him get into character or anything like
Yeah, he didn't say he got it into character, but he said that it made him empathize more with the character because he's seen where he's coming from. So yeah, and he also compares he compares him and HRG to like that kind of a CIA agent working with an internet troll, in the fact that, you know, you've got the juxtaposition of one person's really messy and the other one's really slick, and one's really all talk and the other one's all action, and he really liked that about the kind of their chemistry.
that? Okay, season 2, Heroes Reborn, odd couples.
Yes. Or just like pairings.
See, then we can have Miko and Ren like one week, and then the next week it's HRZ.
HRQ. God.
Oh, damn it.
Next up, they had an interview with the guys from Stargate Studios who do all the VFX. And the only thing of note that they bring up is that they had a laptop with all the original effects that they had from the original Heroes, and they used that as a demo reel for the new team and just said,
don't do that.
yeah, we have to do better than this. So yeah. Next up, Rhea had an interview, and she said she didn't really know where her character was going, so she just made up her own kind of backstory. At the point, she hadn't read episode 12 yet, which is, you know, Company Woman. So she made up her own kind of backstory, and it was that she's a driven woman who's never really had a man in her life. And it's not Evos versus humans. It's letting Evos stop a disaster, or letting it happen and just resetting the world with the right people at the helm to kind of take over. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Messiah complex.
But you know, that's her own backstory, so we don't know if that's what's going to happen in Company Woman. Next up, there is an interview with our main man, Greg Pan, in Close Beeman. He says the lobby fight scene was more in Under the Mask than the Odessa kind of episode, but they obviously some things changed during the edit. The two fights that happened in kind of Odessa slash Under the Mask, they're two different types of fights. Like one was a bit more graceful because of having a woman at the helm, and Miko slash Kiki's own kind of training was a bit more graceful, whereas Carlos's one was a bit more testosterone based and a bit more lived in, I guess.
Because, duh.
Yeah. Next up, there was an interview with Grunny. Nothing really much to say about that. There was one with Rick Forsyth, who was the stunt coordinator. He said that stunt work in Toronto was pretty busy around that time because Suicide Squad was started filming, so a lot of the performers had been picked up by the show, by the film, sorry. Danika's interview, she said she originally auditioned for the role of Emily, and then they made her.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that would have been weird.
They're pretty interchangeable at this point.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that Star Wars thing, thinking about it now.
Remember, I was like, because no, that's really interesting. Because remember when I was like, is Emily his sister?
Exactly. We were just thinking of the wrong one. Next up was Mario Moriera, who was the prop master, and he said obviously his biggest job was the suit. But something interesting was that they couldn't find the original sword, Hero's sword, so they got someone to rebuild it, but they had to scale it back because Kiki was a lot smaller, and for her to handle it, it had to be a little bit smaller. So basically, they got it remade.
Massey has the real thing, right? I would
Probably,
be so
yeah.
disappointed if he doesn't. He's just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
And also, the suit originally had weapons to go in it, but they thought it cheapened the suit and made it a bit go-go gadget. So they basically took it out. So yeah, there is also interviews with Dylan Bruce, Master Effects, Gatling Green, Timothy Zahn, and Keith DeCandito. But again, nothing really much came of it. But I really did like the magazine. I think it's a really nice little accompaniment to the
What's
show.
the cover price on it though, so people can kind of judge whether or not they want to get that or ebook or something like that. Nine
$9.99.
ninety nine.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a show that's had magazines and like I know Supernatural used to have it. I have some of the back catalog, a couple other shows that I watched too back in the day. Like it's really rare for a show to have a magazine these days because they're cheap now.
Mm.
Because we download stuff and we time shift and they don't think we deserve things like that. So I do think that Heroes Reborn like deserves a round of applause because it's very time consuming and expensive endeavors.
Yeah, definitely. And the only other thing is, Spoiler TV has released some pictures from Sending the Clones. I'll put a link in the show notes. I will talk about them for about 2 minutes. So if you want to fast forward 2 minutes, go and don't want to be spoiled, that's fine. But basically, it's just me looking at them and thinking of what could be happening. It's not what is actually happening that I know of yet. So a lot of them is Carlos and Farah in Sunstone. It's Carlos putting back on the suit. Where he got it, I don't know. Maybe it was in the boot all along.
They brought it in with them. Remember?
Okay. Phoebe and Harris are walking along a road, but also Luke and Melina are on a road. So just saying, maybe we're going to get Cloney McGinty versus Luke. Next up, Taylor is back with Erica, or at least, in pictures she's back with Erica. And she's also in pictures with Matt Parkman. So I'm guessing Sending the Clones, Erica comes in, takes away Taylor, and she just gets sent away with Parkman, or Parkman takes her to kind of use her as leverage for something because obviously, he thinks he's dead or whatnot. And finally, Miko and Tommy are in the future and the comic book is shown. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
So that's basically it. So I guess we'll move on to the
book Long Way Home. And be sure to check out the interview this week with one of the authors, PJ Wax.
Yeah.
All right, looks like it's time to finally discuss the ebook. This ebook was written by Kevin J. Anderson and PJ Wax. This is also another longer book. It's 107 pages. And this kind of deals with like Renatus and Sunstone Manor.
It's pre-Sunstone Manor, isn't
an
it?
An internment camp,
yeah,
which is like, oh, cringe. The humanity. But I find this really interesting. I do with their choice of like vernacular and like how like Erica has rounded up these people that she wants them to believe they're innocuous and they're kind of not. And then we see like the max,
yeah,
the maximum security warden. I'm like, whoa. Anyway, do you have a summary? Because it's a lot to take in.
It's basically Orange is the New Black, right?
Only less sexy.
Yeah, Orange is the new heroes. We'll go on to like a little breakdown that I got. So I think it's very interesting that they bring up this metaphor of the toothpaste is out of the tube and you can't bring it back, because I think that's something that's said in Save the Cheerleader. So obviously, the guys kind of have talked about it before, but this is at a temporary assessment camp, Hale, which kind of makes me think, is there more than one? It starts off with us kind of meeting these people who have quote unquote useless powers, like Luther, who can make things yellow, which is a very,
Or the guy that can raise the temperature like
yeah,
10 degrees.
yeah. I think I kind of like that, but yeah, Luther has tried to escape more than once, but obviously because he has a quote unquote useless power, they just kind of capture him and bring him back.
And follow his yellow footprints.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is the lamest power.
Well, they kind of spin TAC Hell to kind of be a place for all these people or these Evos to kind of get away from harassment. There's director Ruthers, who just kind of wants everyone to get along. And then this guy, Sam, who can kind of see choices or something like that. The way I kind of see it is it's kind of like Kato Nakamura's unofficial power.
Yep.
But yeah, they basically have regular chess games and kind of start hashing out what's going on at TAC Hale. You've got Reggie, who can trigger you to sneeze by winking at you. And Reggie is scared of the outside world. You've got Andrew, the one who can drop the temperature by 10 degrees. And there's a conspiracy that they think that they want to turn these people into agents. Well, max security guys anyway. And Erica is kind of using TAC Hale to kind of test for like something bigger. You've also got Dorian, who has the power to kind of melt things, but only like really small things and stuff that's kind of close together, which is
Like
really,
2 grams, I
yeah,
believe, was the.
yes. Yeah, you have Alexa, who kind of has pheromone manipulation, and they kind of talk about it in the kind of Candice way, in the fact that is what everyone else seeing her true form, or is, she's just a raggedy kind of woman under.
Oh, I kind of took it as a persuasion, like the power of persuasion.
It was started off like that, but then when she was like making TQ happen, I was like, oh, it's a kind of pheromone thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Ruthers is suspicious of Erica, and there's basically in max security there's someone who sets himself on fire, which is that the Dirty Deeds dude, or is that maybe that's just me who's thinking about it, right?
Yeah, it might be because I mean they really don't name the guy; they just kind of call him the fire starter or whatever.
Definitely. And then they also, another one of the group is called Lena, who is often forgotten about, and it just seems like her power is to kind of be there, but no one see her, I guess. But the Firestarter makes TAC Hale more security conscious with the kind of lower level workers, and the lower level workers start trying to work out a plan of how to escape. And once
But they
again,
all kind of joined together. It was
yeah,
like this low level Kirby Plaza. They're like, okay,
yes,
lower the temperature. You melt this, you freeze that. And I'm just like,
I really liked it. But for some reason, everyone knows about this place in Canada that, heroes are welcomed.
never got to see it.
But I'm really like suspicious about like, this place in Canada. I wouldn't want to go there because it seems everyone's going there. And the next thing you know, there's a TAC Saskatchewan. Anyway, Alexa is kind of using her power to kind of hide her true power. So it makes it seem like, she doesn't have that big of a power, but she actually does. And there's a plan in place that they kind of use the maximum Evos to kind of escape. And Sam starts pairing them up and making them use their powers. So Alexa and Lena are paired together, and Dorian and Andrew are paired together. And the group's starting to fracture, but Sam kind of gives them words of encouragement to kind of, be super friends, I guess is the best word.
Super lame, friend.
They basically start their plan, and Dorian kills Reggie because he's about to turn them in. And that kind of puts the idea in Andrew's head that, killing an innocent Evo kind of does make Evos dangerous. And Andrew himself kind of kills someone, and it ends up, they escape, and basically TAC Hale becomes maximum security. And then for some reason, like, Sam is a double agent. Did you pick that up, right?
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought it was a weird choice, but I was just like, okay, let's go with it.
Yeah, and for some reason, a Native American woman who was in max security turns up, and I think they're like together.
Dude, that was the most intense, harsh maximum security. I'm like, they're all in medically induced comas. I was like, this is level 5 on steroids.
I know, right? Native American woman. I was thinking, oh, is this going to be a Sparrow Red House? No, it's not. But yeah, ends up with Sunstone Manor being started up, and the end of it is basically saying there is no such thing as a harmless Evo. So yeah,
And I agree.
that's something I really liked about the book. The fact that they were dealing with people who had these kind of useless powers, because not everyone's going to get like the kick-ass powers. Some of them are going to, and you can kind of see that they have small powers, but they could be kind of big. Like Melting Guy could eventually try and, melt
Because they
something
do
more.
grow with time,
Yeah,
as we've seen.
exactly. What do you think Yellow Man's powers would have been? Just to change the color of anything?
Who knows? He could have ended up being like Samuel with the inks and manipulated that way, or so with the minerals from the earth or something. Who knows?
Yeah. There's a couple of world building things I want to bring up. Jimmy Rourke is brought up again, who's the shock jock who was in. He's usually on the radio. We hear him in Dark Matters. They bring up Ever Now, and there's a line where it says, "Oh, we're all toast, burnt toast." So yeah, there we go.
Now let's go to the diner.
Yeah. What did you think of the book?
It's not Saving Charlie. I mean, this really wasn't like these are all like pretty much original characters for the most part. It's just all world building, and I'm kind of over world building. Do you know what I mean? Like
Fair
I
enough.
wanted something like a little more meaty, I
Mm,
guess, especially after kind of the letdown that was Save the Cheerleader, Destroy the World.
mm. I think
But I
these.
mean, all in all, they were good. Like the powers were really kind of unique and quirky, and
Yeah.
I liked them. Having like this basically team building exercise, if you will. So
Mm. Yeah, I quite liked the book. I think the fact that it was pretty much original characters the whole way through made it a lot easier for the writers to kind of tell their own story and not have to worry about all this kind of backlog of mythology.
yeah, it was like a throwback to like season three's graphic novels.
Yes, definitely. That's what I really liked about it. And I also like the idea of, there's no such thing as a harmless Evo. As bad as that sounds, anyone who has power is maybe a danger. And
Well, think
in
about Claire. I mean, all she can do is heal herself, quote unquote, and she was the worst one of them all.
Yeah, but that was just to do with her personality. Not joking.
Ooh, ouch.
But yeah, I quite enjoyed the book. I'm really looking forward to kind of talking to we're gonna have an interview with PJ Wax or Peter J Wax. So it'll be good to kind of get into his head about, why they chose these characters and why they chose these powers. And
I
maybe
want to know what the guidelines were.
yes. So yeah, listen out for that, guys.
So yeah, let us know if you read all the books and what you think of it as like as an addition to the heroes canon.
Definitely.
Wait, which was your favorite book?
I think this was my favorite book. I think I really like A Long Way Home, A Long Way from Home. I really enjoyed it. How about yours? What was your favorite book?
I'd probably have to say, I guess now that it's all said and done that I've read them all, it's between A Matter of Trust and Dirty Dudes.
Mm, yeah, fair enough. Which was your worst book? No, let's not do that.
No, I don't think any of them were bad. It's just like not what the fandom was expecting. Do you know what
Mm.
I mean? Some of these books were like, wait, what? Like, why does Father Maurizio need a book? And I'm like, no, he's cool. You leave him alone.
I want to know what happened to Kim. Oh, Kim. I want Kim to be like the new Sparrow Red House, the one that everyone kind of gravitates to.
I feel like the covers were very misleading though.
Well, it's weird. Like the first cover was like this, like nice computer generated kind of book, whereas like cover, but the rest of them are just what the e-poster pictures cut and paste
Yep.
onto something else. I thought that was a bit, and they've had a lot of time to kind of do something with that, but they just didn't. So yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I appreciate the effort for giving us some, other like tie-in media and stuff. I just wish the actual video game was here.
That's next.
That would have
That's
been a nice Christmas present for my
uh,
boyfriend to get me instead of me having to buy it myself. Just saying. So yeah, okay. Looks like it's time for some shameless plugs and self-promotion. We'll start with the show contact info. We here at Primatech Files love listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have a ton of ways. You can email us via primatechfiles@gmail.com. You can leave us a private message or interact with our posts over on facebook.com/Primatech Files. We live tweet 2 episodes per week every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Primatech Files. You can also find us on Clamor, Tumblr, and YouTube by simply searching for Primatech Files. If you enjoy this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. What's that? You don't have an iTunes account? That's okay. We're on a lot of podcatcher services such as Stitcher and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for, you guessed it, Primatech Files. We're also on Libsyn, and if you want to follow our RSS feed there, all you have to do is go to primatechfiles.libsyn.com and bookmark the site to stay up to date with this podcast. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn, just in case you were wondering. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80 plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that could interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are The Flashpoint, Queen Consolidated, and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbinges.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbinges just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDiaz. That's RICKYJDIAZ, or Z if you're American.
Rebellion Reborn. We hope you found this little brief podcast about the ebook informative and entertaining, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts. So please hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, or you know how we love those emails. Hint, hint.
Why don't you also go to the iTunes and give us a little rate and review? Why not? It's a new year.
If you're still in that giving mood, that would be amazing as well.
Keep the rebellion alive.